We are glad you're joining us here on KUKA Driscoll, Texas, 105.9 and 103.3. This is Larry Elizondo's Power Hour, and this is Island Moon Thursday, where we steal the show, quite literally. Thank you to Ed Acanias for getting us up on the air and making everything run. We appreciate all your help, buddy. And glad you're joining us on the radio and on Island Moon Live on YouTube. We've got a lot of topics that we weren't even able to get to last week. One of the topics that we did cover last week, however, is water. And we're going to try and avoid water at all costs on this show.
Okay, so pickleball and water.
Short-term rentals. And what else is off limits here? Skate parks.
No! Okay, yeah.
We can't. There's a little update on skate parks.
No.
ABC Center? I mean,
yes, the Hilliard.
Hilliard
is that okay?
Center.
Were we fair game?
Yeah,
exactly. No,
I don't want to talk
perfect.
about skate parks.
No.
Yes. No, if we solved the water problem last week, so if you want to find out how we solved it, just watch last week's show.
How did we do that? Island Moon?
Just go to YouTube and Island Moon
We did.
Live.
Actually, yeah, we had Charlie's on and Greg Smith on.
And Dr. Brian Gully.
And yes, exactly. That was awesome. So
That was the 7/31, so July 31st episode.
Yes,
that was really good. So if we all sound a little bit nasally, we're headed into that part of the season where we get a southwest wind, which brings a little bit of dust off the Wild Horse Desert and the Saharan dust, and they all collide right here. And so all of our allergies are just
But
right
it does
off
make
the
for
charts.
beautiful sunsets.
I
It's
think
beautiful.
I think that Jay is admitting to be a Germex child.
I wonder if it's getting worse. I don't remember as a child getting so, having an allergy problem.
I
now
mean,
that I am
but
50.
Frank, we also used to eat dirt and lick doorknobs,
I get
so
it, I
everything
get it,
was
I get
fine. So yeah,
To each their own.
Well, they were burning the sugarcane down in the valley back then anyway, so it's like, well, we've got an agricultural fire, so...
I heard that last year they closed, they had an Imperial sugarcane mill there, and they finally shut it down because there's no water to run it.
Yeah, it's sad.
Don't bring up water.
I'm not bringing up water. I'm just saying the Rio Grande is so dry. I think that was the last operating. I'm not 100% sure.
But that
maybe it
sounds
was the
right.
last one in Texas or something. I don't
That
know.
sounds
But
right.
they shut it down. So
Those C4 plants, man.
they used to burn it up back then when I was a kid. I remember that.
Don't you love
You
chewing
used
on
to
the
burn when you were a kid?
sugarcane?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huh?
You ever chew raw sugarcane when you were a kid, Lily? No, not in South Dakota. They didn't have sugarcane.
They didn't
I didn't have sugar
sugarcane.
cane,
We
no.
chewed
And
on
I
bears.
definitely didn't burn
chewed
when I
on
was a
bears.
kid.
Yeah.
Gophers.
Yep. Prairie
Gophers.
dogs.
Oh my gosh, the Great Gopher Fire.
No,
The
it
Great
was
Chipmunk
Great
Fire of
Chipmunk
79.
Fire of 79.
I know,
It was a
but-
very
Exactly.
devastating
There was a
time
different
for a lot of
gopher.
people.
There was a different Gopher Fire.
I got a tattoo of it right here. I'll show you. Yeah,
Please
I
don't
can
ever,
tell you
please
that
don't ever wear
over
a-
at my house we had a problem with gophers for years, and I started using the I started using those gopher hawk traps. I called La Palmilla and I talked to the his name is fleeing me, the golf pro out there. We all know him.
Greenskeeper. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. With,
Yeah. Greenskeeper
You know,
at
and he uses
Bushwood,
it's called a
yes.
Gopher Hawk. You can buy them on Amazon. They're about $75, $50 for two of them, and I've paid a lot of money in the past to deer hunt, and never got more enjoyment than I do of
gopher hunting.
gopher hunting. And
When is gopher season? Is that
there
yeah.
not one.
Anytime
but
you show
that's
up
the
from,
cool part.
You can do that from inside in the AC. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, there wasn't a gopher. But heck, within 6 blocks of my house, I
Yeah.
got them all.
That's good activity. I used to do that at. I used my camera. I used to mullet hunt at Walmart at noon in the Bluff when there was the Walmart there that opened. And I'd get behind. I had a blind over there in the men's wife beaters section.
And he would and take pictures of people's mullets as they go
No,
by.
Yeah.
this is a true story.
No, he's
yeah. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah,
This
'cause
is
it was
true.
Yeah, because
It
it's
was
like
mullet
well,
hunting.
you just had to worry make sure your sound effects weren't on because you're on the corner and you get an angry
And
one.
then,
Yeah.
and they were all different types, and some were more
my
glorious than
God.
others.
Yeah.
My favorite one that you got, and you would post them on Facebook. My favorite one that you got was the guy at Academy
With the-
that was holding the gun. You're like, oh man, let me see that gun, and you didn't realize you were taking a picture of his hair. But he's like holding this gun up all majestically.
Well, it was what do you call it? The stock was all lacquered up together and it was different colors. And That's
Laminated.
a cool something. Yeah, laminated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looked really cool. And I said, hold it. And it was like he was like smelling it. Oh, yeah.
Squirrels.
Anyway, but
Absolute
so
squirrels.
you could get those online. Because
You can
Ace
get them on
Hardware.
Amazon, and they work pretty. And some people years ago, I was tracking them, and I think I put it on one of the social media pages, and there was some people that got upset, and there was a lady that wanted to start a gopher relocation program on the island. I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating. She was on the news and everything. She was pretty
Like a gopher
I was going to
park.
ask if you used a silencer or not.
No, it wasn't. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a snare.
That's the great
And,
Gopher
she was-
relocation
she
program
was
of
pretty bent out of-
'81.
She was out of shape about it. And then, I don't know, about a year later, I think I messaged her and asked her how the Gopher relocation program was going. She was pretty spirited about it at the beginning, so I don't know how it ended up, but I still don't know. She never
They're
responded.
hanging out with the hamster that I had that went out to this ranch to live with other hamsters.
I had a rabbit like that.
Oh, the hamster
Have
ranch
you
of
ever eaten-
Falfurious.
Yes, yeah. Felt furious.
Have you
hamster
ever
ranch.
eaten gerbils?
No, you were talking about they do like in Peru they eat guinea pig all the time. And I think
Dr. Gully
Oh,
was
Dr.
talking
Gully,
about it.
yeah.
They do
Oh,
eat
yeah.
anything.
Well, no, I mean,
Technically.
in the Andes, yeah, I mean they chinchilla. That's how they get the fur on. it.
Not
Yeah.
everything is worth chicken frying.
Well, okay, so we've got a lot to get to about.
See,
Yeah,
we're
hey,
not talking.
Speaking
water,
of delicious
nutrients.
things to eat, if you go to islandmoon.com, our buddy Marty caught a pompano yesterday out at Fish Pass.
Absolutely, exactly. So the. Oh yeah, hi, Mari.
Yes, he caught it. He caught it at Fish Pass.
So
And,
the beach is outstanding right now. The driving is pretty good. There's not too many hard heads from
Fishing
any,
is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of oversized redfish that are coming in off the structure of the new Bob Hall Pier already. Jacob and I were talking yesterday that it's already reforming the sandbars, and so the surfers will be excited about that.
On the cover of the Island Moon, you can just go to islandmoon.com where issue 1112 is up. Just got that up.
Last week was 11/11.
It was, yeah.
Oh man! Hope everybody made a wish.
I made a wish to make it to 1112,
Two,
and
and
we're
we
here.
did.
So,
Yeah, all right.
So,
Congratulations.
so is the sand? What do you call it? A creeding, or is it?
It is a creeding. That's the idea.
Yeah, that's what we said that was going to collect before when we talked about. Well, there's no place to park, and you know the sand's going out everywhere. And but that's what the sand. That's what the pier does. It just collects a bunch of sand and also makes those rip currents that are dangerous and hazardous. But that's what the surfers love. and the
Right.
fishermen
So
love.
the sand hits the pier, drops out, moves the bars out and around, and it makes a big hole off the end. Right. That
So
everybody can jump into.
I'm
but
not telling all of our fishing and surfing friends out there in the community, but there
They
is
already knew.
there's a drone shot on the cover of the Island Moon.
Oh,
that
I wonder
took
where that came
yesterday.
from.
It was gorgeous, yeah.
Disregard.
And
disregard.
yeah, move to strike.
So
Yeah.
did you see the other one of the guys caught a king mackerel from the beach? This is the time of year you can catch that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Somebody
and
caught
somebody's going to catch a
mahi
ling. And,
or a
oh, yeah.
mahi over at the short rigs. We've seen those at.
No. Somebody
yeah.
caught a mahi off the Port Aransas jetties
South Jetty,
last
yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some really
Lily
cool,
was on a podcast with that guy.
There were some really cool
With Nick.
kingfish shots from the South Jetty. We just didn't have room for it in the paper. We were getting everything together and out the door.
And
There's
tarpon.
so much good
press
things.
day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the tarpon.
There's
Yeah.
tarpon, and there's I even saw some jacks. And what I've seen a lot, there was like San Antonio had like first baby shark seen this year in Port Aransas. Like, what the hell's that? First,
right.
and then they had the guy down there.
Oh no! Do not cue
South-
the baby sharks.
yeah, South-
no,
Oh,
that's
geez.
horrible.
South,
Shark.
No, don't do it.
They
no.
had South
Yeah,
Padre.
turn her mic down.
South Padre, they had a 14.5 foot greater hammer that they caught in
did,
release.
they did.
But please
And
don't lift their
release,
nose
wow.
up. Yeah,
Yeah, don't get
beat
over
on
the
them.
top and lift that nose
Stand
up.
on them. Yeah, that's not good for them. But it's impressive to see all the teeth. But it doesn't
Yeah.
make you any stronger or faster or more of a
Yes,
bad move.
if you catch one, just send me a picture and I will Photoshop you holding the head up with the mouth open.
I saw somebody the Photoshop deal yesterday. They had a sand tiger and it had two dorsals of a lemon. I'm like, oh come on, AI.
yeah.
Come on.
But they do look a
AI.
lot like that, though. I mean, they
Yeah.
have the similar type dorsal that the lemons do, and the nurse, whatever.
No, I got you.
Well, speaking of AI imagery of fish, I was messing around with some of that stuff in the early days of the AI technology, and some of the images that this AI was coming up with were so awful. And now I'm mad because I didn't save them. It looked like a Salvador Dali's fever dream. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it was just mind blowing how dumb this AI was. And I should have saved the prompts so I can go back and try it again now that the AI's learned more.
Now
Curious
that
to
it's
see
getting
what that has
smoother.
done.
No, I got you.
So, on to some other kind of fun stuff. There are things we were talking about yesterday that we wanted to cover.
Yes.
A quick list of things. Some of the stuff we weren't able to get to because we got on a long water conversation last week.
Yes.
Stop.
But what all do we want to hit?
Well, I don't know about you, Frank, but my tinnitus is kind of kicking in a little bit, and I hear chichadas, the cicadas, all the time. Can you all
Yeah.
hear? Is that coming through the feedback? But no, one of the things that we wanted to talk about a little bit more in depth was Muddle and Puddle. Was that right? Mm-hmm. So Muddle and Puddle over here underneath the illustrious JFK Causeway. Now that we've got the third opinion that those are not jurisdictional wetlands, can we please do some improvements underneath there? That way people can park underneath the JFK Causeway and not in a muddle or puddle.
And the engineering has already been done, and there were 3 studies, right?
There were 3 studies.
If I'm right.
Yeah, somebody and myself might have been included, and the city engineer might have been included in that.
In the first one.
In the first one. Oh my goodness.
You're talking about the parking right under here, right?
That way.
Yes,
oh,
this way.
see, okay, that's a really good point, Frank. That's been filled in over on the west side. Why can't we fill it in over on this side? So the Corps of Engineers has already said, no, really, guys, you can fill that in. Go ahead. It's up to TxDOT. So who's negotiating this from the city and TxDOT? I don't know.
And the money, here's where it starts getting really upsetting. The money was there in Bond 2018, right?
Coming soon in
Yeah.
Bond 2018.
2018, and $1.4 million was allotted.
Right.
Okay.
That was the only island project in Bond 2018.
Yes. And so I figured, okay, in theory, that money should be there. So that is that on TERS 2, or is that what exactly does that have to do
It was
with TERS?
Bond.
It was
So-
Bond. It was
so-
already paid for.
So it's not
yeah.
like that money's coming from anything else.
No, it was Bond.
Well,
I
I
mean,
was-
Lily was back in high school at that point in time. It's like, come
Yeah.
on, let's
I
get
was
this done.
neonatal.
Well, I was looking around on the city's website and found things kind of linked to Bond 18, and that 1.4 million is now kind of been destroyed down to 600,000,
Because we studied it twice.
and we paid. Yeah,
3 times. Oh, yeah, 3 times. I'm sorry.
3 times.
Thank
So
you, Tyler.
yeah, so we studied it 3
exactly.
times, and why? Why?
But,
So now we're just wasting money.
Better why?
This in shooting sports. This is what they call paralysis by analysis.
Yes.
You sit there and wait so long to try and either get your right shot, or this has to change, or this has to do, or similar fashion with City Hall. Not to talk about any other subjects that are coming up, but they're there for 2 terms and they're dealing with issues that take 3 years to learn.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was Greg last
Yeah,
week,
yeah,
exactly. So
and-
we'll figure out if Dan's listening, because our phones will go up in 3, 2,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
1.
Well, that's what Frank was saying yesterday, because the learning curve, and they drink from the fire hose for a year or 2, and they go, oh, but what about shouldn't we be studying how that affects the water? Hello, where were you
Stop
2 years
talking
ago?
about
Well-
Yeah, but I mean, they don't
Yeah,
get up to
yeah.
speed.
There's so many people.
There's
that
no
get
water and
involved.
coffee.
I've got some property on Waldron, and there's a 20-foot setback that I had to,
Yeah.
put back.
Right.
And we had it was just full of sticker burrs. Okay. So I said, well, I'll probably put gravel down or some reclaimed asphalt or something, put some tar paper down so I don't have to mow it. And this was last year. The building was done. And in the plans, it said it needed to be sodded or seeded.
Right.
And of
That's
course, I
the way
can't
city
sprinkle
code
it.
works,
I can't put a sprinkler system in because we're under water restrictions, right? I
Abso-smurfly,
can't
yeah.
water it.
So you got to plant dead grass.
So I went in there and I
Right.
said, guys, listen, I think I'm just going to get some pea gravel and put some tarp down and just put it in there, and it'll look nicer and better, and it's better for everybody. And the
Xeriscaping.
person that told me that I
Yeah.
was speaking with told me that
Yeah.
she opened up this code book and it turned into a big old rigmarole.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the biggest problem it's not a problem. The city's an easy target. Okay. And the bureaucracy is an easy target. Okay. But it's just like anything else, guys. I think that if it's like when you go to in my dealings with the city, recent dealings with the city. I deal with. There's a lady down there, Miss Dodd. Every time I call, she takes really good care of me. She answers my questions and takes care of stuff. But they hire somebody. Let's say there's an engineer going over your plans, okay? And there's a guy that gets out of A&M, and he's an engineer, and he goes in there to work, right? And he gets a job there. And let's face it, I mean, it's tough working for the city,
No,
And
I got you.
And then, I don't know, halfway through your deal, he gets hired away, and the next person doesn't know where they were on your stuff.
It's the lack of institutional knowledge, and we've got the island.
I think it's the lack of pay.
Right, exactly.
And
Institutional
nobody
knowledge
wants
is
to,
a thing,
nobody wants to talk about it. It's an uncomfortable subject.
Zanoni came in. He started raising everybody's pay. It took us 3 years to get lifeguards $1 an hour because they were getting more than $1 an hour in Port Aransas. Exactly. And I was on ISAC and on Parks and Recs Advisory Committee. The lifeguards. They save people's lives. Can we not make this a little more, even, right? So I get it, Frank. And then there's ordinances, right? So, yes,
and
the zero-scaping, right? So we thought it would be a great idea about 10 years ago to do a tree ordinance. Hey, let's make everybody that's mowing down trees in Flower Bluff just mowing down trees in Flower Bluff. That might sound familiar. And it's like, hey, let's put some more trees back. And so now you have a tree ordinance where you have to put 2 to 3 trees in a new subdivision for each lot. Oh, we're under all of a sudden we didn't see that coming now, did we? Now you can't water the things.
Sticks.
You had to have
they're planting sticks, and we'll just spray paint them.
You had to have the spot for runoff on your parking lot. You had if you do a new parking lot, you had there's got to be some garden space.
Figure now. This is another thing I just recently learned. There's a I don't know what the formula is, but there's a formula of the amount of runoff there is.
Impermeable surfaces. Do you have that written down?
And
no, I did not. I did not get that on my bingo card.
David Lowe probably has it on his phone.
He's got a tattoo of it.
It was next to Pompano and Gerbils, though.
Yeah.
They've got to take some of the runoff, but at the end of the day, you either need to pipe it down to the.
Wait, aren't your cars parked on the lawn over there by
an empty lot?
Yeah. I was like, what kind of runoff is that? Well, it's perfect.
Well, hold on a second. There's a formula. I don't know what it is. An engineer will tell you, but there's a formula of how much runoff there is on an unimproved lot. Okay, and when you build something on it, that formula has to be really close to what it was.
Well,
before.
what are you gonna do? Like it's tire marks on your things?
Well, you have to put in either a retention pond, or you need to get it down to the
detain it or retain it, whatever you want.
Well, with Frank has the car lot over there. What's the name of it?
Discount Motor Company.
And if they'll pay you more than they get from the other things, you get $500 more.
Okay, and so Frank's car lot. Do you guys also at the Eurotech? It's not.
No, it's Complete Foundation Repairs, 885-7901. We come across that. We were at some lady's pool, and this new lady from the what do you call it? Where they check on your stuff.
They check on your stuff.
Checkers.
The doctor.
They drive around. They hired a bunch of new ones. Anyway, this gal comes up there and we're like, "Where's your permit?" And we're like in the bottom of a pool. It's 110. There's no. It's not. We're all dying down there. Like, man, we don't need one. According to this thing, you need one.
No, it's the water cops.
Well, the water cops.
The water cops.
Yeah. She comes by there and stays there for like 2 hours. Then, bless her heart, she came back and says, "You're right."
She was
An adjuster?
No, she was.
No, she was with the.
She was
city inspector.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did get it right.
She was going to give you a ticket, but she wanted you to fill up the pool so she could get in it.
No, she was real nice about it because if you do pier and beam stuff, you have to have an engineer thing and you have to have a permit.
Then she turned into one of your friends. And speaking of friends,
nice.
it's time for us to hear from a few of ours. We're going to take a quick little commercial break, and we will be right back on Island Moon Live and 105.9 and 103.3 on KUKA Driscoll, Texas, Retro Country. Listen to that call out. Thank you, Ed. Oh, that's outstanding. And let me bring some levels up, and we are back.
Right on. So
thank you again to everybody listening on and watching on YouTube. Just go to Island Moon Live, and you can find us there. You can also comment if you want to get in touch with us. You can comment on this video live, and I will see them right here, so we can address any issues or topics that people have. And speaking of topics, there's a few things that we have on the list that we want to get to today. What are we running with first, Jay?
Absolutely. So, it is back to school time, right?
Oh, I hated
so
that.
The bluff starts next week, right?
No, the Cats and Jammers went back yesterday, I believe. So,
Okay.
yeah, Nash is there. And, so the kids are back to
I think
school.
Seashore's next week. That's right. Okay.
Oh, is it Seashore? I thought they were.
I'm not sure.
I thought they were tied to
Well,
FBI.
he was gonna
Steve,
tie-
I think
so.
FBI or
Yeah, he
Flower
starts
Bluff.
September 2nd.
Oh yeah. He's
like that.
yeah. Your kid starts whenever he wants for sure. But for all of you people out there, I know that one of you has a school teacher friend, and your school teacher friends have Amazon carts, their wish list. You all know that school teachers pour their heart and soul, and unfortunately,
Their own money.
Their money, and I'm sitting across from one of
know
those.
the game well.
Know the games well.
We've
and-
been when Lauren was teaching. She taught 5th grade in Flower Bluff for a long time. Ann was teaching before that. It makes such a big difference.
Teacher of the
Every
year
little
at two
bit.
different schools.
Two different school
Exactly.
districts. Yeah.
But she was putting her own money into her classroom and her kids to the future. That's the idea. So, you all know a school teacher. They have Amazon carts. Oh, can we say Amazon?
Yeah.
So anyway, they have Amazon
Like the
carts.
jungle.
Go in there. Nothing's high ticket. Streets of gold. They're
Yes.
just asking for basic, simple things. It's not like their school districts don't provide them, but they can provide the kids just a little bit more.
I still don't understand why one of the largest fundraisers on the island has nothing to do with our children and our school that's out here. It blows my mind that that more local businesses aren't involved with raising money for Seashore or the different schools and the children around here. I think that if we're going to have a large benefit, and I won't mention them, but we all know which ones they are. There's 2 or 3 of them that are pretty big up and down the beach and stuff like that. They raise money for nonprofits, and the schools don't get any of that money. And it's crazy. Somebody told me that enrollment's down here on the island at the school down here.
At Seashore?
And at Seashore,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Right.
it's a charter school. I'm not proficient. I don't know exactly how all that works, but I do know that those people there do it for the right reason, and they're there. We're lucky to have a school on the island instead of having to drive over the bridge for some of these people. And I think we should support them. I think it should be one of the largest fundraisers on the island, in my opinion.
Well, we always had. You always have to provide stuff to the school. Here's what your list for 6th graders or 5th
Sure,
grade, and it's like
sure.
Yeah.
you got to have the Crayolas. You don't have to have the 64 box with the
Yeah,
ochre Winfrey color, but it is nice to have that sharpener on the back.
Okra Winfrey.
Ochre Winfrey, yeah.
Okra Winfrey.
And bruised purple, but the other high end one. But you just need the basic 12 or 24.
Prince Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but they really have odd colors
You
like
need 12
that.
pack of Crayolas.
Yeah, and then you have to have the
Blue October.
number two pencils, and you had to have.
I know. You had to have.
Do
Do people even use a
the
number 2 pencil anymore? I'm not sure.
No, you can. People always bite them.
Well, you
Don't
needed
need
the
the
number 2
crayons.
pencil for your Scantron
Right,
back in the day.
exactly.
Now everything is done on a Chromebook. And
Yeah.
what people can do is kids can pick their answer and they just show it, and the camera on the teacher's Chromebook or iPad, whatever device it is, scans what the kids say, and it shows them immediately who's right and who's wrong.
Wait, are you
Nice.
serious?
Yes,
I hate that.
The technology in there is amazing.
See,
Lauren,
you were wrong.
Last week they had the
No, it's not gerbils.
educational technology conference was down here, and Lauren did some presentations with new tech. And some of the older teachers and people that have been there for so long, they just didn't want to adapt to the technology. But once they realized how much faster it was, and it saved them so much time on grading, on processing everything, it was like, wait, I can leave faster? Like, okay, yeah. Like, wow, this makes my day easier.
You can't replace the smell of a fresh mimeograph. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
It's showing your age. Ka-chunk,
Yeah.
ka-chunk,
Take your
ka-chunk,
breath away.
ka-chunk.
Yeah.
Or a mammogram.
Everybody, I've heard it both ways.
Oh, the smell of a fresh mammogram.
We're causing all kinds of chaos out here on Island Moon Thursday. Tyler Thorson, Jay Gardner, Frank De La Rosa, Lily Walker, and my name is Jacob Oggs. We're glad you're joining us on Retro Country and on
So,
YouTube.
couple more things before we give over the con over here. In a couple of weeks, Kent Olberg and Guy Harvey are going to be around. They're screening a new movie about.
About Ken Olberg's life, yes.
Yes.
Wind in the Sails will be played at Tamu CC. If you want to get more info, you can read about it on islandmoon.com.
And so we may have Kent on. We're trying to get Guy.
Trying to get
but
Ken
he's-
and Guy Harvey. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. We'll try to get him on it in a little
Yeah.
Get
bit.
him to sign my back.
Well, they're really.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to wear a T-shirt.
Yeah. No. With what size of a Sharpie
Yeah.
exactly to get through all that hair on your back, Yeti?
Now,
Yeah.
for those who aren't aware, they're both artists and huge in the sport fishing conservation world, and have done a lot of good for worldwide conservation and awareness.
The great thing is when Busy and I were in Grand Cayman, we were on the same dock as one of many of Guy Harvey's boats, and it was kind of guarded, but we got in late at night after. And Guy, I hope you're not listening, but we tagged your boat a couple of times with some Curtis stickers.
Curtis stickers.
Oh, we did.
Oh,
we did.
you rickrolled him.
Oh, we did. Yes, we did. There was a
Never want to give you up.
That's
Exactly.
quite the accomplishment. You rickrolled Guy Harvey.
That is actually like
Sorry
like,
if you. It was easily
yeah. I hope
peeled
he's
off.
not listening.
Well, it's-
don't tell him where this will
Don't you
air
want him on
before
the
we
show?
ask him.
I know.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, don't tell him where to find this.
No,
before
no.
he comes on.
Maybe he'll be like, okay, mate, you were the ones that rickrolled me. Okay, I've got to go on with these
Yeah.
people.
He was over at Academy last time he was here, and that's been a while ago.
Yeah, I got mobbed. So, anyway, one of the other things before we give up the con. No, that was it.
Oh wait, you clean up.
we got there. The Packery jetted cleanup, right? So, Jacob and our buddy CT
CT back in the day.
got in the water because we saw a bunch of cast nets just flailing in the current, and I know
Loose
myself.
fishing line, and now if you fish the jetties at all, you know you're going to give up a bunch of gear.
I know myself. There was a really rough day about this time many years ago, and there was a small green sea turtle that was caught up, and it was just getting its butt kicked, and I finally just took everything out of my pockets and I got down there, but it was too late. It was wrapped up in a bunch of braid, and the braid is so much more harmful than monofilament because it doesn't stretch at all.
Yeah.
And so maybe a turtle can grab a last little breath, and I hate to say that, but anyway, so yes, so watch your line. The cast nets. How many cast nets did we on one of our inaugural cleanups?
Yeah.
In like 40 feet, we got like 3-4 cast nets.
And,
Yeah,
and they,
yeah,
some of
at
them had
least 3 or
dead
4
animals in them,
cast nets.
including
They did.
turtles.
They did.
Well,
so.
and so the way we did it, we waited on a slack tide on a day not unlike weather we've got right now, where it's just crystal blue water and visibility is really good. If you're going to get out there and do any cleanup on the jetties or dive around there, I recommend wearing gloves, because grabbing anything, there will be hooks in line and all these other, and lures and all this other crazy
and
stuff
have
that you
like
can't
5
see.
knives on you.
And,
Yeah.
and a gaff worked well too.
Yeah, so what we
A
decided,
gaff
what
for
we
your
figured
buddy.
out was
Yeah.
run a gaff between the rocks and just scoop, and you'll start pulling up line, cast nets, anything and
Yeah.
everything. We filled 5 buckets on the second one that we did. We filled 5-gallon buckets and and only cleaned about 35 or 40 feet. That's it. Not
all
very
we got.
long.
That's all we got.
But that was
exactly.
that was a big deal. That was
Yeah.
Yes.
the inaugural one. That was impressive.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's worth getting down there and doing that if you don't want to go pay super high prices for any sinkers, because you get so much lead.
Oh, we had a lot of friends
Off of it, yeah,
up out of the water
They
that
were-
was helping us out, Frank. You
There
know,
were
and-
people
and new
sitting there with
spoons.
side cutters just pulling all
because
the.
we're throwing.
Well, that's expensive.
We were throwing lures
Yeah.
and lead and all kinds of stuff up on the
Go
rocks.
smelt it down
and,
for some
those
other
that plastic
Yeah.
didn't go away, so you just changed out the trebles on them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
free lures. So
Yeah.
it's like walking the King Ranch shoreline if you could walk the King Ranch shoreline.
I do agree with Ogs,
below mean high tide.
Yes.
Yes.
I do
Yeah.
agree with Ogs with the glove thing. Like that braid, like Jay said, doesn't stretch, and you will get hurt if you don't.
Yeah, it's worse than a paper cut.
Ow.
Also coming up is right now the registration is open for Babes on Baffin. That's the all-women tournament that all goes to conservation. All the money raised goes to CCA and all the organizations. And you can get in there now. The cheapest it gets is right about now $100. And it's go for more information on that, babesonbaffin.org. Fun tournament, 300 women. A lot of them good fishermen. Some of them not so much, but they have a grand time.
That's
And it's-
October 23rd, right?
Is that the
No,
one where
that's
they dress
October
up?
10th and 11th.
Is that the one where they dress
Columbus
up?
Day.
and run
Yes,
costumes?
that's the one.
Okay,
That's
that's what I thought.
That's the one they dress up. That's October 10th and 11th. And for more information, go to babesonbaffin.org.
Nice.
I'm gonna dress like a gerbil.
Fishing turbals.
That
It'll
they have
still
some
be
of the
kind of
greatest-
warm for that, but your gerbil coat. How many
Yeah, a lot of
gerbils does
stuff.
it take to make a coat?
I don't know.
Small hats, very small hats.
I'll do some math later.
So, Frank, there's a bunch of stuff going on in the Bluff, and a few things that you were kind of alluding to you wanted to touch on. What do we got?
Well, I'm pretty excited about where the Bluff is going right now. A couple of things have happened recently. They cleaned up that big retention pond right there at NAS Drive and SPID. A friend of mine that's in the, he's in the, same as Steven Strick, they do the commercial grinding of trees and stuff like. They have a big commercial mulcher. He went in there, and I guess whoever owns it hired him to go in there and clean it up. And there was a homeless population living there and stuff like that. And so, I think they pulled like 30 shopping carts out of that mud hole. Okay,
I've taken the flyover
but
right there and looked down
there
and
was shopping carts and
was-
God knows all kinds of stuff in there, and it blows my mind. We had some rain recently. It's full of water. I could not imagine living in there with the mosquito population that
Oh,
they had. I mean, goodness,
it's gotta be
gracious,
unbelievable.
But anyhow, they cleaned it all up, and I guess that's a retention pond for NAS Drive, where the water drains there. I think the flyover going to the base is a little higher than, let's say, Gateway Church across the street and that pond, and I think that's where it drains. And so that's why all the big trees are there and stuff. But it's nice that they cleaned it up.
The willow
Looks like-
trees.
yeah, it looks like we're getting a Wendy's. We're getting a Wendy's right there at SPID, and
Are they still square?
Yeah, I hope so.
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They don't taste the
So-
same if they're round.
So that's going in, and then I understand we're getting another oil change place at SPID and Walden Road. And I was also told they're putting in a Seven Brothers Coffee there next to Whataburger there.
the Seven Brothers on the south side is gangbusters all the time.
Yeah, and so I'm excited. I think the Bluff is growing. We're cleaning it up one spot at a time, trying to get that done. No, I'm excited about what's going on there. I think it's the next best thing. You can't do what you do there on the island. The dirt's too expensive.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of growth going on there, and I'm excited about it.
And that was a big kind of strategic point when they were redoing and fixing up the police substations. They decided there was no reason to move that substation they have in the Bluff. They just went ahead and refurbed it. And that location has really taken a lot of pressure off of a lot of law enforcement instead of having to do everything based out of downtown.
There's a bunch of houses going up over there off of Flower Bluff Drive.
Yes, house
Walden.
development in the Bluff has been on a huge increase.
I think my hat's off to those guys. On paper, it's easy to, when you want to develop a piece of property or build something and you watch somebody do it. I see on Facebook or any other social media platform, there's people talking about, they mock how long it takes to do something. And generally, it's those people that mock it have never done anything in their life, so they don't know what's going on. What is that Dunning-Kruger effect? You think you know, but you really don't know. And so my hat's off to those guys. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time to build those subdivisions. And it's a big gamble. You got to get it done. But yeah, there's a lot of red tape. There's just a lot of stuff.
And there's interest
into it.
rate that changes.
Yeah, I think that. Interest rates go up and things get crazy. Things get expensive. These new tariffs. I was watching the news this morning. Tariffs are going into effect today. How is that going to affect the cost of building something? Copper, steel, rebar, stuff like that. What are we going to do there?
It all rolls downhill.
It all rolls downhill, and there's people that are already stretched. We talk about this all the time in the car business. This is something that nobody really wants to talk about, but it's the truth. For 30-something years, I've sold cars, right, within the car business. And on the surface, that's what it looks like I do, but I really don't.
Have the tariffs had an impact on car prices?
Not so much. What's really, I think we're still under a hangover from COVID. I get this all the time. People come in. Again, I could sell every truck that I have at my dealership today if I had the bank financing.
Sweet.
Okay, everybody has the wants, but they don't have the means. Okay, and where we're at now is that 9 out of 10, and there's other people in the car business, I hope they're listening, they can agree with me. 9 out of 10 people that walk in the door to buy a car don't qualify in Corpus Christi. They don't have the credit that warrants what they want to buy, and they don't have a down payment, they don't have anything. one thing is the people that come in to buy a car, they think, I get asked every day, how much down? They think the down payment is a direct reflection on how much money we make or the markup on the car. It has nothing to do with it, okay? But they think that. So, again, if I could get everybody financed that walked in the door, I'd sell everything I had today.
Oh, buy a bank.
Yeah.
What gets me is the price of them. Even now, like
Well-
the FJ Cruisers. There's one that's like 13 years old with 190,000 miles. And they want 26 grand for
That's they don't make them anymore, so there's some
Yeah.
collectability there, But all I can tell you is that it's like I had a customer call me the other day. They were trying to buy a brand new big diesel truck. Okay, doesn't matter what brand, and they were upset that the new car dealership wouldn't deal with them. Okay, and this truck was over $100,000.
Golly.
And they're boasting.
Yeah.
My customer and my friend was boasting. Well, I'm paying cash, and they won't deal with me. And I said, well, would you do a $100,000 construction job for $500 profit? He said, no. I said, well, that's what you're asking them to do. You're asking them to sell you a $100,000 truck and make no money.
Yeah.
And you come into the dealership and I'm paying cash. And I get, that's another one I get all the time that's funny. People call me or they'll come in and say, I'm paying cash. I'm like, really? I thought you were paying with Pokemon cards. That's all we take, fella,
No, but they want to sell you the extras. They want to sell you the extended warranty. That's where they make their money, on the warranty and the financing.
Well,
And the nitrogen
not
and the
necessarily.
tires?
The new guys.
The way it works is, let's say you buy a car from me for $50,000, okay? And I get you financed at a bank. Years ago, we could mark up the interest rate 2 points, okay? So when I signed a contract with that bank in order to send them deals, I could split with them 70-30. I would get 70, they would get 30 of the 2 points.
Yeah.
And there would be no chargebacks. Or I could split 50-50 with chargebacks. Or I'm sorry, I could take 100% of it with chargebacks. So if you traded the car in a year or two later, they would charge me back that amount. So most everybody went with the 70-30 deal. But today, they don't do that. That's
The dealerships do it themselves, don't they?
No, well, some do and some don't.
That was
some do and some don't. I think that now most of these
That was
banks
the
and
Red
credit
McCombs
unions
model.
will pay us a flat for sending you there. So you come in, I get you financed, let's say at a local credit union or a bank or something like that. They'd pay us $500 or $700 just for sending them a deal, and that's it. They just give us a little money on the for doing it, but some of these, like I think CarMax maybe, and I think some of these, that's private equity money, okay, and they own the finance company, they own the warranty company, they own.
They vertically integrate. That's what Red McCombs and what was his name, Charles, that owned the Saints. That's what they did. Benson.
Yeah.
They figured out, why am I taking these deals to the bank? I'll just do them myself. And that was their business.
And that's all
model.
good until they
weren't
don't
in
pay.
the car business. They were in the finance business.
All that works until they don't pay.
Yeah.
And then you have Repo Max.
And that's a whole other ball of wax. But I mean, the biggest challenge we have today is financing, and a lot of my customers are out of touch because they have money.
Yeah.
They don't think about it, So not too long ago,
The rich are different.
well, a guy comes in, he's got a truck he wants me to buy, and I offered him $10,000, and he blew a gasket. He says, well, wait a minute, I see him for sale for $15,000 online all the time. I said, well, good, we'll sell it.
Yeah.
And about a month later, he calls me. He says, will you give the 10 grand? I said, yes. He goes, man, I just had the hardest time online. Everybody wants me to finance the truck for them.
Yep.
And
Or
I said-
or they
and I
want a
said,
rock bottom
so
offer.
We're looking for two different buyers, okay? The buyer that has that kind of cash is not going to pay what you want. He expects some kind of relief because he's paying cash. And, the general public, there's a lot of people here that are going to disagree with me, but this is the truth, okay? The general public cannot sell a vehicle for what a dealer can. They cannot. It's impossible. People put their boat, people put their truck or whatever on Facebook Marketplace.
They're saving
put it
the
online for
commission.
sale. There's no commission there. But my point is, we're looking for two different people. If 10 people come into my car lot, 9 of them are looking for financing. 1 of them has the ability to write a check for it, okay? I have the banks at my disposal to submit them to get them approved. When you try and sell something on Facebook yourself, the 9 people, you don't get to talk to those guys.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have finance options. So you get only
Yeah.
1 out of the 10, and you're looking for the cash buyer.
But
so you're
Frank,
looking for a needle in the head.
I'm sure they're all good for it.
Well, you'd be surprised how, like I said, it's all a challenge.
So what
there's-
happened?
Go ahead.
What happened with the paper plates? Because we would over at Complete Foundation
They
Repairs
outlawed
off
those,
of
didn't
Baldwin, you'd see these Land Rovers with paper plates
Yeah.
for months.
Yeah, no, so that's gone. So
They
the state of
changed that
Texas
law,
just
didn't they?
changed it.
Yeah.
I think it was July 1st they changed it. So now we have the hard, there's no more going down to the tax office and get license plates. We issue the metal plate at the time of purchase. And
then you just get the inspection sticker. I just had to do that.
right,
You don't have to get inspected, but you have to get the sticker.
right. It's a rigmarole. It's different, The
I just
state-
did it
the-
online.
the-
It was pretty
the-
easy.
Well, but for as far as dealers are concerned, we're
Yeah.
burdened with collecting all the sales tax, all that stuff. We don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
We just have to do it. And if we're wrong, we get fined. If we overcharge by $1, I mean, it's a crazy thing. So there's something else that like I said, a lot of people don't know the ins and outs. What you don't know, you don't know. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have to do that.
Well, they're so used to seeing like a Herb Tarlick, like you be wearing a plaid sport coat, like
Right,
hey,
no, I
let
get
me
it, I
like,
get
let me
it.
show
Well, I
you a
thought
deal.
those
I
things
got a
could
deal.
fly.
I got a deal for you.
I wear flip flops and a white T-shirt. When
Like
I
that-
sell
like
cars.
there's a picture-
I've sold Dale about 5 of them, and
They don't
I
see
sold,
you coming.
I sold
From
them
the
all in
house.
flip flops. Yeah.
No, I've seen you before. You'd have like, man, where'd you get that truck? Oh, I got, new truck.
Good story in a cloud of dust.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another Jeep. This one's got a trans engine in it. It goes like 105 miles an hour, but it's 4-wheel drive, so it makes it a lot. It's got a lot of torque.
Well, I
Like,
was
okay.
talking to a friend of mine the other day. Bought a Ram truck, and how much horsepower? It said 750 horsepower. 700. What do you? Who needs? He said, you don't need that, and nobody needs that.
It's like the price of a diesel truck today. I think we're getting to the point now where some of these gas trucks, they have a lot of power.
Yeah.
And I took somebody wanted to make the argument, and I said, well, prove it to me. On paper, a person does not need a 3/4 ton diesel truck because the maintenance is more, the cost of the engine's more, everything, the repairs are more expensive, everything all the way around is just more expensive.
Yeah.
A friend called me wanting a truck to pull his RV, and I said, well, how often are you going to pull it? He goes, twice a year. I need a diesel truck. I said, no, you can buy a 3/4
one.
ton gas and just, you're going twice a year from here to Lakey, for God's sakes. You're not going from here to Canada.
Minnesota. Yeah.
So, but the man thing, I want a diesel truck. I want to see that black smoke come out of the tailpipe.
Well, you can leave it
and
running in the
whatever.
parking lot.
Yeah, but then your particulate filter will get clogged. So you're better off in a gas one. You can leave it running all you want. There's no harm, no foul.
Man, those F-250s down the beach, they
They're
burn
heavy.
2 gallons. You sleep in there, it's all cold.
I
don't know.
circumvented the need, so I have a 09 Dodge Ram. It hasn't had AC in like 5 years, and
How much you want for it?
Well, I bought.
I'll pay $500 more.
I bought these plaques that say turbo,
Nice.
and everyone rolls up to me at stop signs, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that model came with a turbo," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, sell it right. Sell it.
I put a Cummins diesel sticker on the back of a Honda Civic once. I thought that was hilarious.
I put Tesla plaques on my on my brother's Honda Civic. So.
I'm going to start doing that just to bring Tesla stickers with me everywhere. Who knew Tesla was into so many different things? Well, I'll tell you what, we're about to get into a good conversation with Steve Ray and some more with Frank De La Rosa. We are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Thank you for joining us on KUKA Driscoll, Texas, 105.9 and 103.3, Corpus Christi's Retro Country. Getting all this stuff together.
Tuna Steaks for being our sponsor.
Exactly.
I imagine they're going to be a little busy around here this weekend. With the
Yes.
last weekend before everybody goes back to school.
Isn't school just starting earlier and earlier? I feel like
It is.
When I was a kid, I remember it being after Labor Day.
Yes,
Maybe I'm
exactly. It was
crazy.
always Labor Day.
We were talking
And-
about that earlier. We've had a 100-day season. Now we got about an 80-day season.
And there was a talk a while ago, and we'll have Lauren on the show after a little while. She can explain this a little better. They were talking more about going to a year-round schooling, which Tolosa Midway is year-round. And I think what they're doing now is going to more of a hybrid, where there's still a summer season, but it's shorter, and then they've got more breaks in between. So the whole goal behind this, because believe it or not, there is actual goal behind a lot of that,
Yeah.
is retention of knowledge for the students. instead of just going and then having this huge long break and then you got to get them back, and they spend a
Yeah.
month catching them back up to where they were.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The numbers were better.
Also,
doing
vacations.
it this
Could
way.
you imagine? I mean, it'd be easier to take a vacation if they're staggered throughout the year and you travel somewhere. It's not so crowded.
Yes,
but we
exactly.
have 100 days to make our money here on the island. And
Not
by
anymore.
God, they're killing us.
Not
Well,
anymore.
well, how much?
Now we're down to about 80, 85 maybe.
So what is that worth in
It-
dollars?
it's-
Economic.
Greg's talked about that on this show. When the legislature moves that date around, it has an impact on
Well,
us
of
down
course,
here.
just think of all these little camps and things that are around that are doing. I mean, it has to have a huge impact. Not to
It'll
mention
spread out over the year, though. If you get 2 weeks, a longer spring break and stuff like that, people are going to come down. I think that we've got a great destination.
Makes
a
it
great
hard
place.
to schedule though, because you got to schedule your help.
No, I get it. I get it.
But
That's
the-
I was on Facebook the other day talking about somebody left a bad review for somebody. I'm like, could you imagine? I sell people's identity, arguably their vehicle. Could you imagine selling something someone puts in their mouth?
Yeah.
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 I mean, you might like ketchup on your eggs, and I don't. You know what I mean? That doesn't make you a bad guy.
now, if you put ketchup on steak and it's done more than well,
Oh yeah. No.
Well,
That's a
that's a
I'll see you in
great
hell.
yard. That's a
Yeah.
football.
You could be president.
You could go to Potro.
Well,
you're gonna get out of my restaurant.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
staffing these places is got to be a real big challenge. For the rush weekends.
Well, but one of the things that we found out, and this is something that Greg touched on last week, was the fact that the numbers in Port A, I'm sure it's the same for Corpus, because I know I've seen a lot of the traffic. The numbers on the weekends are up, and we're having every weekend match 4th of July.
I sit
but
there,
the weeks are down. The
I
weekdays
sit
are
there
down.
on my back deck in the morning. What day of the week do you think more people get pulled over coming over the causeway?
I would probably Monday morning be my guess.
I see. Well, I had a traffic cop yesterday leaving the island, but my guess would be like a Thursday or Friday.
It's Sunday mornings.
Sunday.
Believe it or not, I sit
Make
there
hay while the sun shines.
and I watch them. The other
Well,
morning,
they don't come back for court, so you just collect the
It was
money.
like
Yeah, yeah.
11
on the way
people
there.
got pulled over
Thanks
in
for
like a
visiting.
2-hour time frame.
Thanks for
coming
Take
over the
that with
causeway.
you and come back next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and people are speeding. That's another uncomfortable conversation that nobody wants to have on the island. Is that we're getting. It's crazy how busy we're getting. How many
Yeah.
people are coming out here.
Well, I get the count of the cars coming over the JFK every couple of weeks from the city, and it's around 50,000. That's both ways, 50,000 and up. And it used to be maybe a big week. A big weekend is 70. A normal weekend used to be 35 to maybe 40. Now it's 55, something like that.
I can tell you that like,
Our
again,
feeder markets are growing.
I see the traffic. I see people driving, and then you remember I don't know how many years ago it was when they put the light in right here by my house.
Yeah.
And there was the Aquarius light. There was so much kickback. I mean, everybody was just bent out of shape about it. Right? It was a big deal. Okay. And at the time, I had a son going to Flower Bluff High School, and he had to make a U-turn there every morning early with people coming at him at 90 miles an hour. And there's still accidents at this light. Why?
There's a lot.
Because of the speed.
Well,
Nobody wants
there's
to
a
slow
lot
down.
of fender benders there. I see the
Staples-
traffic reports, and
Staples used to be
it's
for-
not unusual to have a dozen wrecks there in a week.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. Because of people's speed, but nobody wants to talk about that. Here's what I'm afraid of. In Port Aransas, when you get into Port Aransas, what's the speed limit from when you come in, okay?
It's 45.
It's
I'm talking about all
60.
the way down.
It's 60 before Palmilla.
Yeah.
And then around about Palmilla, I don't know if there's a 50 sign, but I know after the golf cart bridge, it goes down to 45.
And then
Yeah.
what?
And then down to 35
35.
by Coffee Waves.
Yeah.
Perfect. And it's at 35 all the way down there past when you get to the end and take a left.
Well, it
head
has to
towards
be
the-
35, or you can't have golf carts.
no, it's-
that's
yeah.
just state law.
Well, and it's-
35.
What I'm
can't
asking
be more.
is it lower than 35 between, let's say, the
Once,
swing?
once you pass Allister.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Is it?
I only drive 20 there normally because if I'm there running around, there's
Golf
golf carts in
carts.
front of me, and
Yeah.
they're
Perfect, okay,
they're all
so-
governed to 20.
I
but,
understand that.
But I think it's 30 legally on most streets.
Yeah.
But
If it's-
as a precaution, because you never know when kids driving
to
a
be
golf cart or someone who
35.
shouldn't be
So what
driving
is
an
that?
EV
So
jumps out.
Here's the $1 million question. When is that coming here? Because here we're allowing there's
Well-
hundreds of hold on. There's hundreds of golf carts everywhere, right? And they complained with a stoplight, for God's sakes, okay?
Yeah.
And from that stoplight to Whitecap, what's the speed limit?
The way that's a TxDOT right of way, and TxDOT sets the speed limit at 80% of the mean speed of the traffic that's going through there. So it's 80. If people are going 60, 65, 80% of the mean speed. That's what the speed limit is, and
Totally
that's where
agree with
we've
that.
been stuck. We've been trying to. Eventually, it went, and Jay can address this, but it's when the mobility plan comes along, that'll all get addressed. But right now, it's very difficult to do because of the TxDOT rules.
Right.
Well, somebody was asking the
No,
other day on
it's-
social
it-
media. They
And-
wanted to go across the highway here. From
You
the
can only
highway.
cross at marked crossings.
I understand that, and they wanted to cross there to go to Starbucks. They asked if it was legal, and I said, "It's legal, but it's not very smart. It's probably one of the most dangerous things you could do on a weekend with these people coming off the causeway at 80 miles an hour, and you're in a freaking golf cart.
As a
Well,
as
on the
Have you
weekend-
lost your mind?
No, Frank, you can't go 80 miles an hour on the weekend. You can only go about 30.
Well, they
And
try.
some go.
yeah,
It's a
well,
left turn, no left turn weekend.
It's not very popular, but what needs to happen, and Dale was alluding to, is the speed limit needs to drop right here at the base of this illustrious JFK bridge to 45 all the way around.
And
that
ultimately,
turn.
that's what
The
will happen,
locals
but
would
we're not
lose
there yet.
Their minds.
Well, they can
Well,
lose their minds if they want,
They
but
would
that's what's
lose
going
their
to
minds.
happen.
They'd
They-
rather have the accidents, and they'd rather complain that they can't get to work
Well,
on time. But they don't. It doesn't matter to them how many people get in an
Well,
accident.
Frank, it comes down to enforcement. Seriously.
Yeah.
So post it at 45.
No,
And then once
no,
it
it's easier to
posted-
blame the light. It's the light's fault. It's not their speed.
Now, yeah, it's the
Here's
speed
what-
of light.
TxDOT runs Saratoga too, right by my house. And
1.21
Saratoga,
gigawatts.
right there between Airline and Rod Field, you could go 55. And now they changed it. Now you can't go 55, but it can
Eventually,
be
the
done.
speed limit here will be dropped. It'll probably when the light went in at Aquarius, exactly what was feared is what's happened. Is you have fender benders. People come down. They come down going 90 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, all the way
80,
down here.
according to
They
Frank.
come over the bridge,
Woo.
and they're stopped, and they're generally not high impact collisions. Those tend to happen further down, but there's regular fender benders at
as
that light
as a
every
force
week.
of habit, I started doing this a while ago, and now I automatically do it when I'm passing, Waldron. I always kind of watch who's around me. Once I get on the
Yeah.
causeway,
You're
I
looking
make
for
sure.
cops. Come on.
No, I'm looking for touristas because people
Yeah.
hit the water, and the first thing they start doing is looking around and drifting
Yeah.
all over the place.
Right.
And
Like
make-
we say, when you get on the beach,
Yeah.
there's a parked car, there's going to be a dog or a kid. that
Always.
walk
Yeah.
Every time.
You don't see the
Expect it.
feet.
Or
You don't see the
this
feet.
week it was the Naked Men of Clayburg.
Oh, so we have
The Naked Men of Clayburg have shifted gears. They now put up barriers so you can't see them from the waist
This is
down.
very
Frank, I'll
interesting.
let you take this one.
This is a very interesting story that needs a little preamble. We do a piece every week. Dale finds fun or interesting things that happened 10 or 15 years ago in the Island Moon, and
last week.
the area that is south of Bob Hall Pier,
Yeah.
right by, we call it the North Sticks. It's literally the north end of that GLO
Yeah.
or
Clayburgh
Penn's
County.
property, but it's in Clayburgh County. It's not Nueces County, so enforcement in the past was pretty difficult
Yeah.
to kind of do down there, and in the past there would be naked people.
They actually had a sign that said nude beach at one
And
point.
yeah, at one point in time, and a lot of people just avoided it altogether.
And
That's
now
the reason I don't cycle or ride a bicycle. I'm not
Now
man
what's
enough to wear
happened
the
is-
shorts.
Yeah,
so I was down there. So the constable's been patrolling it, and so it kind of went away. And now they've come up with this thing where they put these little barriers up where it's only open to the water side. I was down there this past week, and you can't see them from the waist down, but you can pretty much tell what's.
But you
going
walk
on.
along the tide
Yeah.
line. And
I
boy, you
don't.
get
I don't
an eye-
Are we
walk. I
really-
hit the gas.
Let me understand, you guys. Are we really talking about naked men on the beach?
Yes.
how
that what
many
we're
how many were
talking about?
were arrested or given tickets?
The first guy they got was in training to be a border patrol agent. They went down there and had a roundup. He's the first guy they snared.
No,
Well,
there are women down there on occasion, but there used to be a lot of dudes trolling. Just hi.
Well, they were. We haven't had them in
Did
a
they
while.
miss Key
but
West and they ended
they're,
up here?
I
What
don't
happened?
know.
There was the problem was it was 60 miles to the county seat, so there was no patrol, and they knew that. And then along comes the internet, and they all, hey, you can go to Clayburgh County and
Yeah.
And some
get
of
a,
them you can't
get
tell
a,
if they're
get
naked
a
or not. 'cause they look
reverse
like-
lobster
They
tan.
look like a piece of beef jerky.
Well, we,
I like-
we want to welcome Steve Ray. He's with us this morning. You're not saying much over there, Steve. You
Well,
seem,
I was just going to say the one way to stop that is if you and I went out there and got nude one time,
that'd be
everybody
it.
would leave real
That'd
fast.
be it. They would, yeah, they'd pass a federal law.
No, you have to say naked because nude means you're like,
oh,
you're
that's right.
abiding by the
Well,
laws.
yeah.
Naked means you're up to something.
Yeah.
Be like Whitecap Beach, Hippie Hollow, in Austin. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here, Steve. I've been trying to get you on this show for a while. 44 years, I guess, to be exact.
Yeah.
Since we've known each other.
We have.
When I came out of journalism school, my first job was at the San Antonio News before it was the Express News, and I was the low man on the totem pole. I was the overnight police reporter, and Steve was the slot man. He was the gatekeeper. You got the big horseshoe desk, got all the editors, and Steve sat in the middle with a pneumatic tube behind his head.
That's right.
Yep.
It's kind of dangerous.
And he was the last guy. He's the guy that actually got to yell "Stop the presses" when you wanted to stop the presses.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you been here in Corpus? You were here for the fight over the Ferris wheel, right?
I actually was involved with that.
Did you fight you fought the Ferris wheel, right?
I did.
Okay. You and home green?
Do what?
You and home green?
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about it was, we also did a little, if I remember right, we did a little video, or at least we had some pictures out there where we had a Ferris wheel that was rolling through downtown.
I remember that.
And,
Just imagine what you could have done with AI.
oh, I'm telling you,
yeah.
it would have been, it'd been amazing.
That was what's his name from the guy that's ambassador to Italy now, right?
Tillman
Fertitta.
Yeah.
Fertitta.
He wanted to come in and turn one of the T heads, wasn't it, into an
Land
sort
Bridge
of
or somewhere.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, it's worked well other places, I guess, but, you know, it was Corpus, and
yeah. We corpused that up.
people want that. Yeah, they want to see that.
Well,
they
we
want it to change. When
We
they
were
drive around
talking
there.
earlier about redistricting that's going on now in Austin. You've been involved, been watching that. How's that all going to fall out? What's that going to mean to us here in Corpus?
Well, you know, Trump thinks that we can get 5 new Republican seats in Texas, and so Abbott agreed, and so in the special session that's coming up, or that's actually in kind of there right now, they came up with the redistricting plan. Our own Todd Hunter was the one that put that.
He's on
in
that
there.
committee, right?
He's on that committee. He was put on that committee. But over the years, Todd has been actively involved more than probably anybody that's left in the legislature in redistricting efforts.
Yeah.
And so they've got some changes in the seats, and a couple of them affect Corpus Christi.
How's it going to shake out? Are we going to? Where's our line going to end up?
Well,
They've got a plan out,
yeah.
right?
The way to look at it is this: right now, all the Democrats have left the state. Right now,
Right.
They've got arrest warrants out for them, and
As of today?
as
Or-
of today,
Yeah.
And so we'll see how that plays out.
Where are they?
They are in
New York, Illinois, and Boston
Absolutely,
was what I
yeah.
heard.
Yes.
Which is funny because Illinois is like one of the worst gerrymandered states.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
and look, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, depending on the
Gerrymandering
states.
sucks
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
And this isn't anything new. Doesn't this go back to like the third or fourth president? There was someone named Jerry that ended up. Is that the way the story goes?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how the name kind of
Yeah.
became.
Yeah,
They decided,
gerrymander.
hey, we can just push these districts and use that as a method. So it's not like this is anything new.
Well,
Well,
are our congressional lines going to move?
They will move. Corpus Christi will be added to District 34, where it used to be. The one that they've recommended for Corpus Christi is similar to the one that we won with Blake in 2010, with a few changes. It is a district that's probably now, if it passes, is about 53% Republican, but we have a Democratic congressman there now. And the thing I always remind people of is this: yeah, it'll be 53% Republican, but Vicente Gonzalez and then
In the valley?
Cuellar and the Cuellar both won their congressional seats, despite the fact that Trump carried their districts by a pretty good amount.
So where will the lines go? Is Port Aransas will still remain in Clouds District?
That's right. I think District 27 keeps a small portion of it. I think he has if I remember right, he has Port Aransas and the downtown area, and
Boy, there's a
and part of the
community of
west
interest.
side, and part of the west side.
But the problem with that, they were talking with this on the morning show yesterday. with Debbie and the gangs and the Wave Morning Wave. They said that it makes Corpus Christi irrelevant because we only have a population of 300,000, and it's.
No, that's wrong.
Well, that's what they're
because
telling
I'll
us.
just
Way
tell
to
us
the
why,
district.
Steve. Believe me, I analyze this district a lot. So what the deal is if you look at just the number of people, I can see why people would think that, because Cameron County certainly has more people here. But what you got to do is not worry about how many people are there, even though that's how you make the
Right.
decisions on redistricting,
Right.
but how many people vote. And this is, I think that the way this is drawn, it should be a Coastal Bend-centric seat, and not like I think somebody from the Valley doesn't have a chance for it. But I would think it's a Coastal Bend seat. And I'm going to tell you how I think that's one of the most important things we can do right now because of this. Because otherwise, we could end up with 3 South Texas congressional seats, and Corpus Christi is going to be left in the lurch again.
That's the fear.
Yeah,
right?
it's a relevant fear. I mean, we have things here, for example, the Port of Corpus Christi, and we need a congressman who will actually care about the Port of Corpus Christi. I mean, Blake did a great job with that when he was there.
Yeah.
And so the things that are important to the Coastal Bend should it be important to that congressman. And I'm not saying they aren't now. I'm just saying that if you have somebody from Corpus Christi, it makes a difference.
Well, like
Right.
Brack.
Yes.
You know, it has to do with
Absolutely.
Kingsville and
Absolutely.
And that's probably coming. How many people in a U.S. House district now? 600, 700,000?
I think 600-something thousand, if I remember right. I can't remember.
And a state senate's now 1 million people.
Yeah, it's
State senate district now.
it's pretty
30
interesting.
seats and 30 million people.
Absolutely, it's an interesting conundrum there with the way that everything's been
So
set.
how does this all play out, and what is it going to mean to us?
Well, right now the Democrats are all gone, so they can't vote on it. So they're, like I said, there's restaurant warrants out for them. Not all of the Democrats are gone, but majority, obviously.
Right.
They're keeping it under, as long as they keep it under 100 people in the legislators.
but
they
they're
can't
just
vote on it.
delaying the inevitable, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they really are. And the same thing that happened last time. When they left last time and went to Oklahoma, I think it was.
It was.
Well,
I was living up there then.
report actually came out from Reuters that said when the Democrats went to Illinois, they actually raised the IQ of both states.
Well, that could be true. Who knows?
So they'll come back and they'll redistrict. Then won't California, New York do the same?
They're claiming that they can. That the problems that they have, for example, in California, is that's done by a panel that's supposed to be bipartisan, or nonpartisan, however you want to put it. And some of the other states that have said, well, if that happens in Texas, we'll do it here, are faced with the situation to where they have laws that say they can't do it there. Until certain times or until it's done by.
The word was that California had already done that the last time.
Absolutely. Look, people can complain about the Republicans doing this all they want to in Texas, but the truth is, in other states, the Democrats have done it as well. So it's just kind of a
Doing it in the middle of the.
That's unusual.
That is unusual.
Usually it's with every census.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and a friend of ours commented on the YouTube channel that in Massachusetts, the weird linear district reminded people of a salamander. Jerry was in charge, hence gerrymandering.
Okay.
There you
Beautiful.
go.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks, John.
Well, so we're looking at the elections in a year from November. Is
Right.
when this will all take effect. So I would guess there's probably a few people from the Corpus area looking at that race.
There are some people that are looking at it, and there are some people that may not be looking at it right now themselves, but other people are looking at them asking them to run.
Yeah.
There are, and that includes both in Nueces County and in Clayburgh County.
I won't, by the way. That's not. I'm not
You-
doing
you
it,
won't?
guys. No.
No.
You were at the top of my list.
I'm off
and,
the
you
If
table.
know,
nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve.
But I think in court, the rumors are. I can tell you the rumors that are out there. You want to hear the rumors?
Sure.
That are out?
Oh,
So,
this is fun. Yeah, you heard it first.
We
on,
like to spread 'em.
Island Moon Thursday.
the rumors out there are that Fred Hinojosa, who is Adam Hinojosa's brother, has been making calls, and he would like to run. Some of the other rumors out there are that Paulette Guajardo is trying to prepare for a race for Congress. She's always wanted to be in Congress, was my understanding.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that from her, so I'm not sure,
Yeah.
the validity of that.
Right.
What about Barbara? Canales.
Look, I love Barbara Canales, but she's not. There's no way in the world she's going to win that seat because she'd have to run as a Democrat. Somebody who likes her real well said, "Why don't you try to talk her into running as a Republican?" I just started laughing. I said, "She can't get past the primary." I mean,
So it's a Republican seat to lose, but it's only a 3-point advantage.
Absolutely.
So turnout is going to drive it.
Turnout will really drive it, and it's good for right now because I mean Trump won't be on the ticket. We don't know if that means Republicans won't show up or Democrats will, or if it means exactly
Right.
the opposite.
Right.
So
You're going to have a governor's race.
you are going to have a governor's race, and so it kind of depends on what these guys are doing. I mean, look, are people mad at Trump enough to not to go out and vote for Democrats? Are people thrilled with him so much that they're going to go out and vote for Republicans?
Right.
Nobody knows at this point, so it's kind of a deal. The other guy that's actually, I don't know that he's actually considered it, but I know a lot of people are really interested in him running, is Clayburgh County Judge, so Rudy Madrid.
Well, he's surfaced in the water fight.
Yeah, he did a little bit, but I think he's kind of backed off of some of that too.
Has he?
Yeah, but he's
Figured out there's two sides to that.
Yeah, no kidding. But he's actually a really. I think he's an excellent candidate for that. He's in the military. He's done a great job in Clayburgh County.
Right. Judge Madrid, I think it was Hurricane Hannah was coming through, right? And the news went down there, and they interviewed him. He was filling up sandbags to give out to his constituents, right? And he was wearing a Dirty Hookers shirt.
You gotta love that.
Okay, for those of you, Dirty Hookers is just a fishing.
It's a fishing
apparel.
brand,
Yeah. And he was kind of giggling, but yeah, no, Judge Madrid's a good guy. But
He is a really good guy.
Throw that in.
Yeah.
So that district, as it's now anticipated, would go all the way down to the valley.
Would go down and include part of Cameron County, and in fact, the majority of Cameron County. It would be Nueces, Clayburgh, Willacy, Kennedy, Cameron.
Would we get the 8-liners?
That's the state.
So
That's a state deal.
what's the temperature on everybody down there for the redistricting? What are they?
In South Texas, and down the look.
Yeah.
Vicente Gonzalez is the congressman now. He plans to run again. He thinks he can win. He's actually from Nueces. He's actually from Corpus Christi, but
Would he be in the new district?
He is in the new district, and he plans to run. But here's the thing: to always remember in congressional too, you don't have to live in that district.
Right.
So there are the other thing from the Valley. The people that are thinking about running is Myra Flores may move. She said she was going to run against Cuellar, even though she doesn't live there. But now she's talking about moving back. And then they have a guy down there, and his middle. I'm trying to think of his first name, but he's got a little bit of National Guard background, and he's an attorney, and he's running as a Republican. But his dad was a more conservative Democrat state legislator from down there, but his dad also got into some problems where he ended up in jail for a while. And
There's that. But
Keno Flores.
For ratings purposes, you'll appreciate this. We need to talk about, from Eddie says, remember you are listening on, of course, our Retro Country 105.9 and 103.3. Also, we're doing the Power Hour on Retro Tejano 104.1. And we're also live on YouTube, and if you don't have the app, you can download that on your favorite
Live.
device.
Yeah.
Yes, Island Moon Live, you go check it out, and you can see past shows, which you can't on some of these others. And if you don't have the Retro Radio CC app, go to your favorite, whether you have a smartphone or if you have an iPhone, you can find it there and download it. It's easy to do.
And the app is actually really great. You can go back and listen to the podcast of the day's show, all from the app.
Yeah.
I don't even listen. I don't
got
even
it
know
on
if the
my phone.
FM tuner works in my truck anymore because everything is Bluetooth and through the phone.
Hello, Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so Steve, as you watch we got council races coming. How is the desal issue going to affect what happens in those races? Do we know?
Well, I don't know that anyone knows right now. I think it's, both sides are claiming, they've got all the support.
Right.
And, I would think that you've got 5 council members who obviously right now are not happy with the way the process went.
Right.
A lot of them are actually desal supporters, but they don't like the process. And look, the city, let's just be honest about it. We've been around for a while, and one of the things that's important to you and I from our newspaper days especially is transparency.
Yeah.
And this city is one of the worst in the country, I think, for being transparent about stuff.
Yeah.
And they have a couple of council members on there now who are insisting on it. And that's kind of ruffling some feathers over there because they don't want you to know all the information.
Right. Well, it looks like desal is probably going to be one of the main issues in the city races. It's even
I think it will, but here's the thing. Let me tell you, those 5 guys who voted to delay, they did not vote to do away with desal.
Right.
And everybody keeps, they're killing desal. No, they're not. They delayed it for a month so they could get the answers to questions that were important
Right.
to how they cast their vote.
And I spoke on this earlier. My huge problem with this is how did they not have the information
Thank
before
you.
this vote?
And that's what they're saying.
What's happening is it's like I mentioned before, it's paralysis by analysis.
We've
Yep.
done this before.
Yes, and this should be moving forward in a vote. We're having 12-hour city council meetings when we should have a 3-hour city council
Yes.
meeting.
The ports only last
And-
3 hours.
Yeah. Well,
But we've had this $1 billion number jump up out of the weeds at the end of this process.
yeah.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
1.2 billion, and actually other people are saying it's going to rise to 1.8 billion.
And we said on this show last week, we had Charlie Zahn was here with Greg Smith and Brian Gully, and they collectively said if at the $1.2 billion price tag, your market price when you go to sell water to incoming industries is going to be so high, they're
won't
going to
buy
go
it.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
Which leads back to the original question of why are we building a desal plant in the first place? It's to attract industry, but if the price is too high, that's the question the council
Well,
asks,
it is a
right?
question that the council faces. And the interesting thing about this is one of the other problems I've always seen. Look, I was in the newspaper. I worked at the Caller Times for a long time. Then I went into political consulting. So it's been an issue that we've had
Right.
consistently. But the issue is that we also have a city, and we have some staff members there, not all of them, but some staff members there, and some people on the council who are so concerned about keeping control of everything, they don't want to get out and support the Harbor Island
Right.
proposal,
Yeah.
which I like.
Good point. Yeah.
I mean, I like it. The state loves it.
Go
And I-
back and watch on, and I'm telling this to all our friends on. You can go to Island Moon Live on YouTube and watch the July 31st episode. And Charlie outlines the potential for Harbor Island, and we're talking a 10-year plan. This is not our solution right now.
Absolutely.
But to be a controlling partner of water for all of South Texas in the future is the most strategic chess piece we can move right now.
Absolutely. And look, there's a difference. And, somebody said, I'm for desal, but I'm for desal done right. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the way I feel.
Yeah.
And there are other things we can do as well. I mean, it's not, we need water now. We don't need water 2 years, 3 years.
Well,
That
he's-
way we need it then too, but we need to solve our other problems now. And there's some great proposals out there. There's a groundwater proposals
Yeah.
with Evangeline. There's
Stuff that could have been done all along.
absolutely the wells that they're digging, and then there's the that the city's doing now, and there's reuse. There's
Yeah,
all sorts
there
of
are
things
options. Yeah.
lots of options out there, and good options. The most interesting one to me right now is one by Jim Wright. You know who Jim Wright is?
No.
Jim Wright is the only elected statewide official in South Texas. He is a Texas Railroad Commissioner, which means he's actually handles oil and gas, not railroads.
Right.
But he's Texas Railroad Commissioner. And one of the problems that they're facing now is when they inject back into the ground, it's causing earthquakes in West Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge issue out there.
You have to dispose of salt water.
Yes. And so there is some a plan that I think that a lot of people in the state really like that he kind of came up with, where you would take that instead and you would have you might have to get it to a small desal facility somewhere, but then you can move it into the water and it comes
Reuse
on
it.
down. Free water.
There's a plan. And you know who else has a plan? Our amazing friends and sponsors who we're going to hear from real quick. We've got Tyler Thorson, Ace Political Consultant Steve Ray, Dale Rankin, and my name is Jacob Oggs. We are here live from Doc's Seafood and Steaks, right below the gorgeous JFK Causeway, on a nice day. I hope that breeze stays up because it is
Yeah,
warm out
it's
here.
nice.
We are glad you are with us listening on Retro Country 105.9, 103.3, and Retro Tejano 104.1. Good morning out there, all our friends out there in Radio Land and on YouTube Live, or YouTube, the YouTube app, Island Moon Live. Another gorgeous day at Docks. There's a lot of people getting out on the water. I know driving by the boat ramps this morning were just stacked with people.
Yeah.
Already fired up. Let's jump to fishing real quick before we get right back into it, and give people an update. I know
Pompano are running.
Yeah.
People, yep. Our friend actually found some pomps yesterday out around Fish Pass area, which is interesting because we've got blue water that's all the way in, and
Yeah.
beach is just conditions are
Beautiful
gorgeous.
water on our beaches.
It's a great weekend to come down to the coast if you're considering it. Winds have been light. It's hot, but with a nice little breeze, it's actually quite tolerable.
It's better once you get close to the water.
Yeah.
Much better because the
Yeah.
water's still warm, but it's you always get that breeze, especially around 4 o'clock. Look offshore because at times like these, when you have the blue water in close, I've seen sailfish jump.
Really?
You know what a sailfish
wow.
looks like because they go jump up and shake their
Yeah.
sails, and you'll see probably mahi in at the close rigs if you're out there kayaking or whatever. A lot of guys are catching big king mackerel. Tarpon have been around, and of course the big sharks. But the Chamber of Commerce doesn't like us to talk about sharks. Well, they're out there, but
Well,
yeah.
Well,
There-
and
there's plenty of stuff to eat besides tourists.
Exactly. The turtles is what a lot of them like, and they will do their best to get those, and they like tarpon, especially the hammerheads like tarpon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
watch out for that. Can I get? I got to get a spot in for my boys out there at Complete Foundation Repairs, 885-7901. Craig, Jim, Amy, Nick, and John, they're out there, and of course Kelly, he's our salesman. They're working out there doing a lot of bulkhead repair. This is the time of year, it's
Yeah.
the water's going out of your pool. They're like, why do I have this sinkhole right here? Well, we go seal those bulkhead joints, but a lot of times the decking on there has gone down 3 or 4 feet, and if you don't,
That happens a lot out here.
fill that void, you can. I mean, if as long as we get the joint sealed, you're okay. But it's nice to get it back because it's a walking hazard if you have like 4 inches down on one end.
Right.
We did famous TV personality. It rhymes with Grayson.
Yeah.
We
He was on a few weeks ago.
yeah, we did. I mean, we had hell getting his level, but we did it.
Yeah.
I almost passed out several times, but they do a great job doing that. If you've got one of those pools that's leaking water, speaking of saving water, we can go in there and seal those.
Put a
off.
wine cork in there.
Yeah, well, a lot like that. Stabilize it, keep it from falling off down the way, and we stabilize the foundation wall. So give them a call, and we can come out there and check things out for you. We do it all over the place. We do pier and beam. We do stabilization. We do a lot of sidewalks. We do churches, businesses, commercial, you name it. 885-7901, and make sure you heard it on the Island Moon Thursday on Retro Radio and the Thursday show.
Well, it is 0836. We've got Dill Rankin, Ace Political Consultant Steve Ray, Tyler Thorson. My name is Jacob Oggs, and there's a Ronnie Narmore sighting. You're welcome to join up to the jump up to the table if you like, buddy.
Steve, you mentioned a minute ago you work at the Caller. When did you work at the Caller Times?
Way too
A long time ago.
to remember.
But before you were in San Antonio, went to San Antonio.
No, I was in San Antonio first.
Were
I
you?
went to the Color Times, and I was there when Steve Sullivan was the publisher and Larry Rose was the editor,
Yeah.
and then I worked there for a while as a Metro editor, and then did some reporting as well, and then they put me in as the Austin bureau chief. For,
Oh, that's
Several
how you
years.
got in over on the political
yeah,
side.
kind of got that, and then in 2008, Todd Hunter said, "I need you to run my campaign," so I said, "Okay."
That was back in the days when newspapers had Austin correspondents.
Absolutely, we had a complete staff there, and we also had the Texas Poll there. I don't know if you remember the Texas Poll.
Yeah.
Candace Wendell ran
Yeah.
that, and I ran
Yeah.
into her the other day
Really?
here in Corpus Christi. She's living here now.
Yeah, I covered it for some for the Express News and mostly for television.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's a fun beat to have
It is-
up there.
It is a fun beat. If anybody was reading newspapers these days, it'd be even fun still.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that everything had just died on the vine, and it's like now we get we have USA Today with a little bit of local stuff in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they go fishing is good, especially for walleyes and perch, and for those of you down
Salmon.
south, you can get some big bass. It's like, what the heck? Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, then now that building, is becoming a hotel.
Yeah. I looked at buying that at one point. I looked into it, and it was there's some parts of that building were built in the 30s.
Oh yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I went in there before they sold it, and they had started remodeling the newsroom, and they tore all the ceiling out. There were big cable runs, this as big around as like 20 or 30 inches, just hanging down. You had to duck to walk around
walk
in
them
that
out.
building.
Yeah.
One day, I went in there, and there was all this stuff piled in this dumpster out back. When I used to print there, and I pull up, and there's all this stuff, office furniture, desks, and all. So I asked one of the guys what happened. They go, well, so one of the sports guys had this basketball up on the second floor in his office that disappeared, signed by somebody, and it disappeared. So they go back and look at the video, right, from overnight, and there's a homeless colony living in the building, hiding under the furniture. And so to get them out, they had to get rid of all the furniture because they would come in at night when they would leave that door open, and they were living in there right across the street from Blucher Park, I guess it was, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
there. And they would charge their phones outside and then go sleep in the building. So they were throwing away all the furniture. I don't know what happened to those presses, do you?
Yeah, they sold them.
They did?
Which is a surprise in itself, but I don't know if they sold them for scrap or if they sold them for somebody to use.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing about it is when I was at the Caller Times, it was a great time to be there. And it was kind of in the height, and Ed Hart was still around. And, you know, it was fun. And, the board one time, he used to drive this Ford, not a Ford Focus, but a Ford, what was the one that kept blowing up?
Pinto,
yes.
And, the rolling gas tank.
Yeah, and he loved that car, and he drove it all the time. And finally, the board actually said, "That's it. You're not driving it anymore." And
you're an embarrassment.
Yeah, and they were Ed and Janet were like the consummate guys as far as being the right kind of people for Corpus anywhere, actually.
Yeah.
And their son got in trouble one time for when he was younger. He's now a big newspaper guy up in North, but their son got in trouble one time because this was even before me, but Ed told me about it, I guess. But because he'd been drinking somewhere, a teenager, and so he got arrested. And so used to the Caller Times would run all the arrest stuff,
Yeah.
And so the editor called him and said, "Well, we're not going to put his name in there." And Janet Hart said, "Oh, yes, you are."
Wow.
Yeah.
She said, and she called the cops. They were going to let him out, and she said, "No." She said he is spending the night in jail, and see, she went down there and snuck around so she could peek, so she'd make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
But she made him spend that night in jail, and they made sure his name was in the paper.
That's great. A close friend of mine in Waco, his dad was the city editor for the Waco Tribune Herald.
Yeah.
And he got in trouble. My buddy got arrested for impersonating a police officer and doing something like that. And he goes in there, "City desk, let me speak to David." And he would get some hoity-toity friend of theirs. They
Right.
get like, "Can you not put that in? That's Dr. Gillette's son," or whatever.
Yeah. Well, when we were in San Antonio, there was 3 newspapers.
Yes, there was.
And if you got in trouble, if you had a byline, you got in trouble, it's going in the other 2 papers. It's just we had a reporter who got in some trouble watching the Battle of Flowers parade, and we had to run a story because we knew if we didn't, somebody else would.
Like the ESPN guy on the.
When we were at the Express News, it was the Express and the News, and that's when Mothers Against Drunk Driving came in, and we had a few. I would call them retrobates. Might be too strong a word, but they were familiar with the anti-abuse program. Put it that way, and so they decided that there was pressure to run the list of DWI arrests in the paper. Well, it turned out our reporter had quite a few of those. And he rightly told the city editor, "We can't run these because we do, you got to follow them all the way through the system because most of them are going to be dropped." So they went after poor old Tommy because he I don't know how many he had, but it was more than a few. And he ended up on anti-abuse over it. He put on aftershave and pass out because it had alcohol in it. And those were the days when all of that Mothers Against Drunk Driving started, because you had people driving around that had 10 or 12 DUI arrests.
And we have reporters that kept liquor in their desk.
We had a lot of guys in TV. A lot of them were weathermen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They would what's the guy in California? He couldn't say sunshine.
Yeah.
He said Old Saul is out today.
Yeah. We had a guy like that in West Palm. They had to sneak. They got behind it. He came back for the 11 o'clock show, and he was barely airworthy. So they had to put his name was Buck Nichols. And so they got an intern behind him, propped him up in the seat and held him up. And he did the show flawlessly. And then he got to the end and he said, "And that's the news for tonight. And I'm Nuck Bickles." Dope! You almost made it, Buck.
So close. Yeah, I remember when I was doing radio, TV, film classes, one of the guys was a big, they had a lot of great guys that were radio guys. And he said that you would keep a flask of vodka in there because if you had laryngitis, if you took a shot of that, it would clear you for a little while.
A little bit of Grandpa's cough medicine.
In the 3rd floor newsroom where we worked, it was at Avenue E and 3rd, and the Battle of Flowers parade would go by there so the reporters in the old days could cover it. And it was the only floor in the building that had peaked windowsills.
Yep.
Because the reporters would set their bottles, and when the parade would go by, they'd see those bottles up there in the newsroom. So they put peaked windowsills on the bottom so you couldn't set your bottle there.
And Rupert Murdoch owned it back then too. So,
It was a first property he bought in the United States before he bought the Post, and long before there was Fox News, because he wanted the afternoon news, headless body and topless bar, and all of that stuff.
So and so that's the one we worked at, was the news, and and people you'd go in and you'd see everybody reading the Express, and you'd think, oh, that's great, they're reading the Express. But if you looked over their shoulder, they had the outside of the Express wrapped around the news because they did not. The business guys didn't want anybody to know they were reading it. But believe me, it was a lot more fun.
They called in all they couldn't get it. They couldn't get ads from Joske's or any of the department stores. So they called them all in and said, "Why don't you guys advertise with us?" And they said, "Because your readers are our shoplifters. Every time we run an ad in your paper, our shrinkage rate doubles."
Yeah, was that the same time that Nelson Allen was?
It was. Yeah, he
doing his stuff.
Yeah, when our reporter got arrested, enjoying the parade, they made Nelson write the story. So the story he wrote was, so and so was arrested watching which only goes to show some people just enjoy a parade more than others.
I got a lot of mileage out of that one.
Well, that was the Murdoch paper in those days. It was all crime. I was looking. There were 300 murders a year in San Antonio at that time.
He came in and, then when he bought the New York Post, they brought some people down to San Antonio from the New York Post.
And he was going to start he broke the union up there.
Yeah.
He was going to start another paper, and he put reporters from the news in buses with mesh wire on the windows so they wouldn't throw rocks in. And he got ready to put a paper out and broke the union at the Post. And I was the overnight police reporter, and the other reporters went home at midnight. So from midnight until sunup, I was it. Me and the radio guy and the TV guy and the cops, and that was it. And I didn't even write stories. Jesse Clements was my city editor, and I just go to a payphone, call in the fax, and the next day the story would appear with my byline on it. Sometimes I didn't recognize it, but that's how it was done. Crime scene to crime scene.
You know what they're doing using AI now, right?
Oh yeah.
Because every sports game, take for example a baseball game, last pitch is thrown, 10 seconds later article's kicked out because the AI can look at all the stats, and what they were doing was it would go in and kick out an article, and editor would look at it, would adjust the article, and then resubmit it, and the AI bot would learn what happened. So they started doing this for literally any baseball game. As soon as it ended, boom, there's your article. High school football games are starting to use that now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the days of the old school, sports
I covered
writer
the
and
Spurs
outdoors writer.
I covered the Spurs for Associated Press for a few seasons, the home games. And that's the way you would write the story. I was only writing 4 or 5 paragraphs, so you'd start at the end of the first quarter. You write the bottom paragraph. Then, when the buzzer went off for the end of the game, you just wrote the lead, hit the button, and go back and drink the free beer in the press room.
They're doing that now on online. If you look at like Chris, and they'll say this was was
you can
done
tell
with AI.
When I read it, I can tell it's been done.
I can tell because it's too politically correct.
Yeah.
AI is, because all of a sudden somebody becomes a he and a she, and in the same article they're both, and I'm just like, well,
I can't keep up with all of that.
Well, the videos I can tell because the dictation isn't exactly right.
Right.
They'll kind of mispronounce words. 50,000.
Right.
Instead of 50,000.
they don't stop at the end of a sentence and just keep going.
Yeah, the cadence isn't perfect, and then your little things. In some cases it's just so bad I can't even watch the video or whatever it is. But in some cases it's so good. It's like, wait a sec, I gotcha.
Well, it seems like that's going to have an effect on the way you run political races, isn't it? Because it's not
well,
like
it is.
Can
People
leak
are already
something
using
to
it. People are already
reporter
using
anymore.
it. I mean, if you look at it now, you get political ads everywhere, all over the country, that are done by AI, and most people are just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's doing what's Donald Trump doing, or what's this person doing?" Or
they shouldn't be able to, because without saying it, because you can make anybody say anything with AI now, and it's like, he didn't really say that. Oh yeah, he did. I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The state has, and I don't know if they passed that law or not, but they had a legislation that would have forced anything that was done with AI to have a huge disclaimer at the end of it.
Well, I've noticed, speaking of campaigns, John Cornyn is already out of the blocks.
He is out of the block, and
His ads are everywhere.
Well, and it's smart of him to start early because he was so far behind in the polls. But sometimes a little court action can make a difference.
He's running for biblical reasons. Yeah. So what's going to happen what's that going to mean for us? Is that going to affect our port operations, that Senate race?
It could. John Cornyn's been good to this area. He's got Robstown connections. Actually, he's been.
His parents were from down here.
Yeah, right? And so he's been good for this area. So we'll see what happens.
I first met him when he got appointed to a judge's job in San Antonio, and they would route some of the cases that the old money didn't want to, those nasty divorce cases. And then he all of a sudden, man, he just, next thing you know, he's in the Senate very quickly. He was one of the first Republicans elected countywide in Bexar County. How do you think that, looking down the road 10 years, we're getting a break signal?
Yeah. Yeah, when tell you what, we'll jump right back to this and finish out the show. We also have a special edition of the Eric Von Wade Show coming up for you from 9 to 10, so stay tuned right here. Let's actually take a word from a couple of our friends, and we will join you briefly. Where'd it go? We'll wait for it. There it is.
We're worldwide, Hogs.
Yes, we are. And thank you, Ed, for setting that up and the awesome intro. We're getting down to the last of our show. We're going to have a bonus show coming up after you. We're going to stop this live stream. We're going to go to another one with the Island Moon will be kind of featured on the Eric Von Wade Show today. So we'll have that coming at you. If you want to stay live on YouTube, you can just follow it on YouTube Live. If you can, just keep going on the Retro Radio CC app on 105.9, 103.3, and Retro Tejano 104.1. We've got Political Ace Steve Ray here for a little bit longer. Dale Rankin, Ronnie Narmore, Tyler Thorson, and my name is Jacob Oggs.
So what do you got going on now, Steve? What are you working on?
Well, we're going to try to make sure that Jim Wright gets reelected in the Railroad Commission, and then I'm looking at some of these congressional races.
What about the Texas General Land Office race? Dawn Buckingham, have you been involved in any of that?
I don't think Dawn's going to have anybody run against her. It doesn't look like it at this point anyway, but she may.
Did she win pretty handily?
Yeah.
Or was it relatively close?
Okay. She's the one that climbed on the rig?
No. That was somebody that ran for the Railroad Commission.
Oh, okay. Well, man, I like her.
Yeah.
Well, the GLO's a big deal for us down here because we
yes.
got so much GLO on land. We're sitting on some right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will say that Don and Jim Wright work well together, closely together, and I think Sid Miller's probably involved with that as well. So those three guys, I'm not sure any of those three, they'll probably have somebody run against them, but maybe nobody that's...
What race would you say is the most important for us here in Corpus? Probably the congressional race, however that settles out, right?
I would say the congressional race this time. And I think closely followed, in all honesty, with by the Railroad Commission, mainly because Jim's from this area. I mean, he lives in Orange Grove. He has a ranch in Orange Grove.
Right.
And it's unusual. We don't have any state officials from South Texas. And and when you get to the coastal bend, even that makes it even worse because we've only got Jim for sure there. The good news is we've got Todd Hunter, who's got probably one of the most powerful guys in the Texas legislature. Well, he's not probably, he is one of the most powerful guys in the state legislature. You've got a speaker who has coastal bend connections, and you've got, because his wife's from Beeville, and then you've got, so there's some good things on it, and actually Denise Villalobos did a terrific job. I mean,
well, do you think when the dust settles, will we have a person who resides in Corpus Christi in that House seat?
In the congressional seat?
Mm-hmm.
I think we will.
So we haven't had anyone from Corpus since Blake.
No, we haven't. We just need to find the right person to do it. I know some people have even asked Morgan to run, and she, Morgan actually is a very smart girl. She could handle it.
So what percentage of that district will be people in Corpus? About half?
Yeah, the difference, the thing is, I think when you talk about Corpus, you got to consider Clayburgh County too, because that's the two big coastal bend counties that are in there. And so it makes up for a good amount. I mean, I need to look at the voting population and the voters and how they voted last, and I haven't had a chance to do that yet. But I certainly think that Corpus Christi has a very good chance of taking that.
Well, it seems like, and we saw it in the Senate seat races as well. We've kind of been we're joined at the hip with the Valley now.
We are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what you don't want is you don't want everyone getting elected being from the Valley, because the funny thing is the coastal bend is better to the Valley than the Valley is to the coastal bend, and
right. Well, you've got 3 navigation districts in that district.
Yes.
From Victoria all the way south, if you include Victoria. So basically, right now, it's the redistricting is probably going to be the next big fight.
Yeah,
what you're saying.
I think that's correct. And the interesting thing, when Blake was in Congress, he had more ports than anybody, I think, in the country in his district.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Steve, we appreciate you being on the show, and
thanks for being
we'll
here,
have
Steve.
you back on. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to keep up with, and you're the man in the know. So
I appreciate you having me on, and I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Well, we're going to leave you guys with a little bit of Tide Eats while we close down this stream, and then get over to launch the Eric Von Wade show, and we will be hanging out with you. And we'll just leave you guys with this for a little bit, and we will get all this set. Thank you guys so much for watching on YouTube Live. Just go to YouTube, just go to Island Moon Live, and on Retro Tejano 104.1 and KUKA Driscoll, Texas 105.9 and 103.3.